All right, grasshoppers. Wow, it's an exciting day today. Mel's in a good mood today, I can tell. Mel, how you doing, bud?
Who's that picture of Bobby Orr in the back there?
No, that's the flower.
Oh, the Guy.
Yeah.
What do you have Guy Lafleur up there for?
Personal friend of mine along with Bobby Orr.
Yeah.
Were you a Guy Lafleur fan?
Oh, loved the Montreal Canadiens growing up.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, loved them. First hockey gloves was Montreal. Everything was Montreal until I got drafted by Boston. Then now I kind of butcher up their names and not really, but he was one of the nicer guys. Him and Wade York, great guys.
Gresh, should we bothering you?
No, you're not. I'll be right back and get the picture.
So while Gresh is doing something in the bathroom there, Dave had to work at the liquor store today. So in his place, probably about halfway through the show, we're going to be joined by former New York Giant, Sean Landeta, the kicker, 2-time Super Bowl. I have a little bit of a contest here today. See if he wears his rings. Yeah. What do you think, Mel? Think he will?
Well, you guys care more about football rings than you do about hockey rings, but that's fine. It doesn't hurt my feelings.
It doesn't hurt your feelings.
Okay, Montreal Canadian fan growing up.
Who's that?
That's me here.
You're the big one?
Yeah, and this is my friend Russ Eckel.
The little guy, Russ Eckel.
Russ Eckel.
Let's see that picture, Gresh. Look at that. Wow.
Yeah, that was we were like I was like I think 8 and he was like 6 or something like that, or 7. But,
so Gresh, people want to know: is that a toaster oven in the back, Gresh?
It is. It's my daughter wanted. They make these. They make tuna melts.
Oh, okay.
You know, and I didn't have one of those ovens, so my daughter goes. I go, well, put them in I have a little toaster, regular toaster. You can't put stuff in there.
You can't do a tuna melt. No, you can't.
It's right off. So I got that, and it's all. I don't use it. They use it when they come over.
Mel, do you have a sports jacket on today? What do you got going?
No, Tom. I've been on the show how many times now? 16. What is that?
Is that the light up zipper?
Yeah. No. What's AX, Tom? Do you remember? Yes or no?
AX.
Yeah. Axe.
Yep. Short for. Anybody?
Exceptional.
Always exciting.
Armani Exchange.
Armani Exchange. That's right. I should have known that. Yes.
Yeah.
No, you're right about that. I got to stick up for you this time because Tom should have known that it's black.
That's right.
What is everything? Is everything Armani Exchange black?
No, everything you wear is black, Tom.
Huh. But, Ron, I was thinking. When we grew up, like you grew up in Good Soil, I grew up in Saskatoon, and you would hardly ever see a bald guy. If you did once a year or twice a year, you'd say, "Holy shit, what happened to that guy's hair?" Now we have to see a bald guy every week, eh? And you probably see him more.
I know.
How does that go over?
Oh, yeah, here's a little problem here, our boy Ira. My assistant wanted to know if we can move Melly's powder bag hour on my schedule for a board meeting. She was fired. That's not nice. Oh, she didn't go to HR. Oh, man. So Mel, okay, so you got a Armani Exchange on. What kind of gasoline? I mean, perfume or cologne you have on?
Do you want to say that word again? How did you butchered that up just a tad? Go ahead again. Go ahead.
What, your cologne?
No.
Gasoline?
Sure. No.
Armani Exchange?
Ah, there you go. Very good.
Yeah.
Mel, how long did you live in Saskatoon for? Your whole life? I mean, your whole.
No, born there till 12, and then my dad worked for CN Rail, so he got transferred to Winnipeg at 12 when I was 12, and then Hoss Nicholson was the New Westminster Bruins scout, and he was in Winnipeg, and he started watching me when I was like 13, 14, and that's how I went to New West. I'm right in Saskatoon. The Blades never put me on their list, so I got to head out there.
I got two guys I grew up with, Marcel Vandegraff and Jerry Eckel. Both got put on Saskatoon's list after we played in a tournament in Mayfair, Saskatchewan, back in 1969, whatever it was, and they got put on the list. I didn't get put on the list. So thank God I didn't get put on Saskatoon's list because I hated that. I mean, I never watched a junior game until I played in one. We never had any money to go to the games, but you remember the old rink That was in
the Blades and the Saskatoon Quakers. My dad used to take me all. I remember a guy gave me an actual broken stick. It broke right in the middle of the stick. And my dad, he could build a cabin. He could build anything, build basements, do whatever. He was pretty handy. So you know what he did? He took finishing nails and a piece of metal, and he cut it at a 45, I guess, glued it together, put metal around the middle of the hockey stick, nailed it with the finishing nails, and I used it forever. Couldn't use it in a game, of course, but I used it just playing shinny outside.
Yeah.
That's what we did.
Well, now we know where the great stick handling came from.
Yeah.
You know, Andre Dory's got a company where he fixes old the new sticks now. He fixes them up.
Yeah, you can take them in and for $50 or something, you can get them fixed.
What was the rink called? The Saskatoon Quaker
Stadium?
No, where they played junior at, right?
Arena?
Quaker Arena.
Quaker Arena, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember going there. The Toronto Maple Leafs were playing the Detroit Red Wings, and I waited outside for autographs after, and all the guys come out, you know, and it was sold out like in 2 seconds, right? And these guys were all coming out, so I had a piece of paper and a pen, and I could try to get an autograph. And one of the Toronto Maple Leaf guys, I won't mention his name because he can't defend himself. He's dead now. I went to get his autograph, and I tugged on his jacket, and he looks at me and goes, "F you."
Really?
Yeah. I was 9 years old. I'm like, oh man, this is going to be interesting. But I said, if I get to the NHL, I'll sign every autograph there is. I don't care.
Mel, we didn't cover what kind of perfume you're wearing.
Just nothing. Play by Givenchy. Play, Play. It's my favorite. $130 a bottle, so you won't like that one. I'm going to send you, once I get my package from, who is it now? Dave Maloney is going to send me something.
I better go back and work on that again because Dave.
So I'm going to send you guys the Cuba, the little cigar colognes. I'll send it to you. I'll send it to Tom's, or no, I'll send it to Dave because I know he's responsible, and he'll get it to you two guys.
Yeah, so, right. We see you just as often as we see Dave. Okay.
Oh, okay. Well, not that I signed that many autographs, but I remember it was the last game of the year. I'm in Vancouver, I think, and I hit Brian Bellows, and his skate went up and sliced my arm, like right here on and cut my ligaments in my hand or in my arm.
Yeah.
So you lose your thing, and a kid asked me if I could sign an autograph, and I said no, I can't, because like my hand was like screwed up, right? I still remember that to this day. I felt bad because I couldn't. I guess I could have scribbled something, but it wasn't, like my hand was all screwed up, right? So,
wow,
it's the only time I ever said no. So I've signed about 4 autographs in my life, and that was one of them that I didn't. So
that was a good story.
Yeah. Have you ever seen?
Here we go, Ron. Here we go. I'm not in the mood for that this week.
All right. So Mel, you've got to behave. Okay. So Sean Ledetta is ready to come on the show. Let's not get into a confrontation about, like, he's got 2 championships, you got 2 championships. Let's not get into a debate about that, okay?
No, but here's the thing. I want to see the damn rings. You guys don't even give a. I put my rings up. You don't want to talk about it. You don't give a crap. Now you got this big football player. I want to see his rings.
Where are your rings?
Your rings are in the bank someplace.
In the deposit box. I haven't gone to the bank. I'm still working on the BMW. The dumbass hasn't bought the tires yet. Don't get me started again.
Did that guy park in the right when you went golfing? Did that guy park in the right spot this time?
I parked in a different spot this time. I parked so far away from everybody they couldn't even find. I couldn't find my car after the round.
You had to get a cab to get to the.
Pretty much. I had to get an Uber.
Would you get an Uber to the rink too? I like that video of you cleaning the ice there too in Vancouver.
My skating improved, didn't it?
Yeah, that's good.
Well, that and that girl, what she said about you being a Zamboni driver, she was just a little off.
All right, we're going to bring on the great Sean Ledetta. Of course, Gretsch has known him for, he's either known everybody for 36 years or 40 years. I think Sean's 36, right?
I was like 35 probably.
Sean, how you doing?
I'm good. Really good to be here. Thanks, Tom, Gresh. Really appreciate you having me on. And Mel, I look forward to meeting you, brother. I've told Gresh and Tom that you're just awesome. And you said you've only signed a few autographs. I'm telling you, when you come back to New York, there'll be 1,000 people that want your autograph after how awesome you are on this show. And I also told Tom, I'm born and raised in Baltimore, Maryland. So I grew up with the Baltimore Clippers and the Skipjacks, and I watched all of your guys' shows. And when you mentioned you lived in Cockeysville, Maryland, I got a big smile because I went to elementary school there. So, I remember Gene Ubriaco. I remember, the Skipjacks and Clippers. They were great for me growing up in Baltimore. We didn't have an NHL team, but certainly the American Hockey League was big back then. I think Ron told me you skated there one time on your way up to the Rangers, but certainly look forward to meeting you when you get to New York. I told Gresh, I said, when Larry comes to New York, you got to let me know because I can't wait to meet him.
Sounds good. Thanks for that.
Thank you.
I was in Baltimore for a year.
Hold on, Sean. When we're all done here, I'll call you. I'll explain anything about Mel, okay?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, and we'll figure it out from there.
Once you meet him, you won't like him, Sean.
Yeah, well,
I think I will.
it's one of those things like you need these to put these on. It's a good look. Like, oh, that is Mel. Mel and Guy Lafleur. You see Guy Lafleur on there?
I see in the background.
So, Sean, you won 2 Super Bowls, correct?
Yeah, I was really lucky with the Giants. I played for 4 teams, Giants, Rams, Eagles, and Packers. I was very fortunate with the Giants to win 2. I mean, I tell people it's so hard to get to the Super Bowl, just to get there. Then you have to win the game. And in both of those games, we were losing at halftime, and we were able to come back and win. So just really fortunate. Just missed by a year with the Eagles and the Rams, and the Packers. So, I can't complain, but boy, a little better timing. I probably would have went to 5, but just so lucky to get a chance to play in 2 and come out on the winning end both times.
Did you keep your rings with you, or do you keep them in a safe deposit box in the bank?
No, I have them with me.
Do you have them around? Can you show them?
You know what? Actually, it's in the other room here. Maybe I'll text my wife. I'll have them bring it around, and I can show one of them here. The other one's actually getting repaired. Believe it or not, this is from 1986 and 1990. So not that it's a knock, but it was Jostens and Balfour that made them back then. They're certainly not like the ones today. And believe it or not, the one Super Bowl ring is in about 6 or 7 pieces. I'm getting it redone because it kind of fell apart after all these years. So
I guess that is the thing. We thought Mel was lying because he broke his ring as well. So I guess, okay, that's all right.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I called the lady and she said, well, that thing's in about 6, 7 pieces. I said, really? She said, oh, yeah. So she said, just send it back. And I didn't know this, but she said, there's no charge. Every few years, send it back. We'll take the stones out. We'll reset it. And I did it one time because it gets pretty banged up. I don't treat the rings as well as I should because Gresh will tell you, I usually take them with me everywhere. I don't wear them, but I take them with me and I let everybody try them on because I know that's a nice deal for the fans to do. But in doing that, they get dropped, they get smudged. I mean, they get banged up. But, man, when they sent it back, it looked like the day I got it. So I'm waiting for the second one, but I do have the first one with me.
Good. And did you have Parcells as your coach the whole time with the Giants?
Most of it, yeah. Probably the first 7 years. He's a great football coach. Not a lot of fun to play for all the time. I certainly get along with him a lot better now than when I played for him. He's a neighbor of mine in Florida. I spent some time down in the Jupiter, West Palm area, and he has a home there. So, I see him every year, and, he's doing well. He's hanging in there. Great coach, but not always the easiest to play for, which is the case for a lot of great coaches, I guess.
Yeah,
well, I think Sean, you'd have been a hockey player. You'd have been the favorite guy on the hockey team. You know why?
Why?
You didn't drink. You'd have been the designated driver.
Well, I got to tell you, all through college, the only reason I never drank, it's funny, is I didn't like the taste. Junior high school, you're drinking beer with your friends. I'm like, this tastes awful. They'd say, we don't drink for the taste. We drink for the effect. And I'm like, well, I know the effect might be all right, but this is terrible. So that's the only reason I didn't drink. And in college, it was one of the reasons I was a favorite guy because I've been a designated driver since I've been 19. I've been doing it my whole life.
My youngest son, he had a half a beer one time, and then he goes, Dad, do I have to finish this thing? He was like 16 years old. I go, no. He goes, he hasn't touched it. That doesn't drink.
I'm glad I didn't like the taste because if I did, I would have drank the hell out of it. But fortunately, I didn't like it, and that's the only reason I don't drink. But
Mel, do you like to taste the beer?
Oh,
yeah.
Is the Pope Catholic?
Well, we got to find his favorite beer out when he comes to New York. I'll make sure to have a 6-pack.
Pabst Blue Ribbon. He drinks Pabst Blue Ribbon.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. Milwaukee, remember the brown Michelob with the gold tab? Now it's Michelob Ultra, but I used to drink Michelob. I'd go to Fridays or Daisy Buchanan's or wherever and always drink Michelob. Now they don't even make it anymore. So I'll drink pretty much anything. Beer-wise.
That was cool. Oh, we need to do a little shout out to our girl, Janine Marie. She's been on the show with us. Apparently she fell down and got hurt or something. So if she's watching, if somebody can pass a message.
What happened?
I don't know if we can get her on the scoreboard, but we're definitely saying hello and thinking about her. So.
Oh my God, that's what happened? She fell down.
Sean, do you wear a cologne?
You know, I do. It's funny. My friends all kid me that everything I wear must be really good because I get great compliments, but I never know the name. All I say is it's something my wife bought me and it's in a dark green bottle. That's all I know. I don't know the name of it. I probably should, but I get good responses. And I don't think there's anything wrong with smelling good.
It's called cream de mint.
Yeah, but Larry's like a woman though. He's got like about 20 different bottles of cologne. It's like,
no.
In junior hockey, don't you remember if you were a first star, you'd get a Brute cologne?
Yeah. I still have some, I think.
In the big green bottle. So it might be Brute, Sean.
Brute's still good.
Yeah.
Brute is still very good.
Yeah.
Brute.
And it won't send you back $100 for a bottle either.
Oh no, Larry has to spend at least $100 on the bottle.
Well, he buys the good stuff. Nothing wrong with that.
Wow.
Yeah, he goes for the $130 bottles. But that's okay because Mel smells good right now.
Gresh, how's your Nook doing?
Can we leave that thing alone? I mean, ever since Mel started on that thing, you guys are like picking on it. It's all nice. Where is it? Beside.
Oh, wow. He's a little testy today, Sean. He's using that like this, Gresh. I mean, it's because you're on.
No, testy.
I tell you, it's so great to be on, but I almost don't feel right. I'm so used to seeing Maloney in the corner there in that fourth box, and
right.
I miss him being on because I don't know how many other people watch this, but you guys have such a great show. I told Gresh, I said, there's 10,000 Ranger fans that would pay $1 a week in a second to watch this show. Probably 100,000 because you guys are just so good.
Well, that's because this show is all about nothing.
Well, there was a guy named Jerry Seinfeld that became a billionaire that had a show that I guess they said was about nothing, but it was great.
No, that's true. It's true.
Gresh, did you get a juicer yet?
No. I'm going to get one, Tom.
I've been saying that for a month now.
So busy this week.
Right.
You know, I've been very busy.
Want me to get one for you?
No, because then I'll owe you.
You know, I got to tell you, Tom, I know Ron said before, don't mention the Nook, but for all of us that watch, we actually look forward every week to something being mentioned about the freezer that Ron has and the Nook.
Yep.
And you always talk about the picture that Larry has behind him and the cologne. And so all that stuff you need to keep talking about because we all look forward, even if it's subconsciously, to the point in the show where you're going to bring that up. It's like we kind of feel like it's part of the deal. Does that make sense?
Thanks, Sean. See?
We're just
a smart man.
Like if you take a look at Mel's thing where it says Grumpy, Herb, Bud, Mel, which one would you call him? Which one would you call him?
I would call him Larry, unless he didn't like that. Most of the time, you ask a guy, has anybody, Larry, asked you what you would like to be called?
Anything but Lawrence.
How about Poke Face?
Oh. Okay, Lawrence. Okay. No, your real name, Lawrence?
No,
Lawrence.
Not. I hate Larry. Larry's a dumb name, but it does mean king if you go into the dictionary. It means
king.
Yeah.
Mel, did you do any homework this week? You got any stuff for us or what?
I got so much stuff, Tom. I want Sean to get his ring. I'd like to talk about his ring. It's not about me today. I'm in a grumpy mood today, but Sean's he's lifted. I'm okay.
You're in a grumpy mood today.
Yeah.
You have been the last 16 weeks.
No, it took us a while. The therapy's working.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sean, are you pretty even keel? Like, you ever get in bad moods? Do you have bad dreams or anything like that?
Very seldom. I'm pretty much a laid back guy, go with the flow. Like anybody, you get angry about stuff. And even though I am laid back, I've heard a few of the situations that Larry has mentioned. And I think I would have been felt the same way he did if I was being honest. When you think about things that some people do, that if you're a normal guy, you'll say to yourself, what the hell is this guy thinking or doing? But for the most part, I've always been laid back, kind of go with the flow type of thing. And, for the most part, that's worked.
And so Super Bowl, you get the Lombardi trophy. Have you got any Lombardi trophies painted on your car or anything like that?
And again, I wish they wouldn't do that to bust Larry's chops, but the fact that, again, that's part of the show. It seems like every week that gets mentioned. And no, I don't. But I don't know what they do with you guys. But with us, when we won the Super Bowl, they give each player a replica about half the size of the Lombardi trophy. They give us each one personally, in addition to a ring. Do they do that for you? Like get a kind of a mini Stanley Cup to give to each one of you guys?
Yes, they did. Yep.
No.
We didn't win. So Mel, do they?
Yes.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
Well, you can elaborate a little bit,
Where are those, Mel, in the box also? Take the deposit box?
Pretty much, yeah. Downstairs somewhere. I don't know what my
Sean, if you saw another player with the Lombardi trophy painted on his car, would you think that's kind of strange, though?
I wouldn't think it's strange just because, I'm very laid back and easygoing. I would try to look at the positive. Like there's a guy that must be very proud that he won the Super Bowl and wants people to know that. And that's okay. I don't look at that as a bad thing. I know a lot of people might look at that differently, but I would take that. I would take that attitude.
That's a good idea. Sean, what color is your car or truck that you drive?
I have a white. I just got rid of a black SUV and I got a white Lincoln, like an SUV Lincoln, white car.
Nice. Yeah, black is, you don't want a black vehicle. Black is not good, but a silver Lombardi trophy, just like 7 or 8 inches right to the right and left of your license plates in the back would look outstanding.
You know what I'll do, I can get some kind of a magnet and I can try it out. I can put it on each side and see how it looks and see what my response is.
But Sean, I don't view you as the kind of guy that wants to draw attention to yourself like Larry does, though.
No, I don't think Larry does. I mean, I certainly don't. Excuse me for a second. Lovely, could you bring my Super Bowl ring to me, please? It's in my bag. Thank you.
Oh,
good.
Is that your wife?
Yeah, my wife, Donna. She, I refer to her as Lovely.
Oh, you are sweet.
Yeah.
Oh,
well, I was like most guys. I was married 10 years the first time. I said, I will never, ever do this again, ever. But fortunately for me, the second time around was the best thing I ever did. I actually like my wife. She's like really.
Most people learn the second time. Most people learn the second time. Some people don't, right, Tom?
Yeah, we've done enough of that.
It's hit or miss.
Yeah. Mel only found one person who wanted to marry him, so.
Oh, well, he's lucky. I mean, geez, if I could have met my wife now the first time around, my life would be so much better, and I'd have a lot more money too. But we've all been through that. So,
yeah,
and you remembered her name, which is good.
Yeah. Gresh, how's the freezer working out there? You got it nice cleaned off there today. Did you clean the house? Or?
It's cleaned off, and I opened it up this morning, and my kids are over here, and there's ice cream in there, but I stayed away from it.
Nice.
So here is, I don't know if you can see it. Let me see it here.
Oh, nice.
That was Super Bowl 21. We played the Denver Broncos, and we were fortunate to win. On one side there, they put our last name, and then on the other side, they have, see if you can see it, the score of the game. It's 39-20.
Wow.
There's a little rose underneath of it. The game was played in the Rose Bowl, so that kind of, says where it is, and then a little Lombardi trophy, and then the ring itself is, there we go, Lombardi trophy. Got to tell you, it's a nice ring, but the rings today, if you look at your knuckle on the top of your wrist to the middle of your finger, that's how big they are now.
Yeah, you can't even wear
them. They're almost unwearable. I mean, everybody just wants to outdo the other guy, and they're so big that they're ridiculous, even though they all mean the same thing.
Right. Very cool. That's good. Mel, does yours look like that?
Now you care?
Geez. Well, I'm asking you a legitimate question. Mel, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Mel. Does your ring look like that? Will you please elaborate?
Mine is not as big as that. That's a really nice ring. Mine is the first one was blue with a smaller diamond in it, and the second one had a larger diamond, was all gold. So, but that's a nice ring.
Well, thanks. I think it looks a little bigger in the picture that I showed you. If you saw it in person, it might not be as big, but no, it's nice. Thanks. It's they all signify the same thing, and if you're fortunate to be on that team that wins that year, personally, I hate when I hear people, they'll refer to a great player, and if he didn't win the Super Bowl, they say, well, he never won the Super Bowl. And that's our cat.
Sean, you fit right in here. You fit in.
I didn't invite him, but his name is Louis Vuitton. My wife went to get him at a rescue, and she was sitting there and put her bag on the floor, and the cat walked out. And there was 6 people there, and the cat walked directly to my wife and sat on her Louis Vuitton bag. Oh. And the cat is the same color as a Louis Vuitton bag, so hence the name Lou. Lou, can you please get your tail out for yourself? Thank you.
Mel's got a cat too. He thinks
is that right?
Yeah, I guess it's a dog. But
I got a 7-pound Yorkie. I've been on the shows like 17 times, Sean, and Tom doesn't listen to a thing I say. Yet he wants me to come up with ideas and stuff like that, So
well, we all listen to what you say every week.
Well, that's you're right. That's what's more important. So,
Mel, what you got for homework? Mel, what you got for homework? What's going on?
Sean, what do you do now? Are you working? Are you retired? NFL?
Yeah, pretty much retired. I mean, when I say retired, I'm able to stay busy. I was so fortunate, as you guys know, to play in the New York area is so wonderful. After you're done, if you want to get involved in the community and events and appearance stuff, and it's almost embarrassing. Geez, it's been all these years later, and to still be able to get work because I played for the Giants and you guys played for the Rangers. We're just so lucky. And so I do a lot of events and appearance stuff. That's enough to keep me busy. I also played in Philly 5 years, and that's only 100 miles south, so I'm able to do some stuff there. But that's kind of enough to keep me busy.
Sean, leading up to the Super Bowl, I mean, it's all the build up to it and everything. Are you able to just treat it as a regular game?
We did, and I give our coaching staff a lot of credit for that because, every one of us, especially the first one, we all grew up watching the Super Bowl, our dreams to play in it, and now we're staring right at it. And, our coaching staff did a great job of keeping the schedule the same and trying to reiterate to us that it's the Super Bowl, but other than that, you need to do all the things that got you here. When I think back to it, it really – for the most part was like that. I remember running out on the field in pregame to warm up, and, I told myself, it's the Super Bowl, but everything else is the same, same uniform, it's grass. And I think our coaches did a great job of maybe not letting the enormity of the game get to us because, I guess a player might never admit it, but that's probably happened to some guys, that they've gotten in that big game and it's one game and, everyone wants to do their very best, but we were fortunate, as I said, to get there and come out ahead.
I wish hockey was one game, and we'd have won the cup in '79.
Yeah, I remember that. I was in college. I was in college at Towson University down in Maryland. I remember watching that, and I don't think anybody except you guys in that locker room thought you'd win that game, and you won the first game, and it was like, wow, can you imagine the New York Rangers to win the cup?
So technically,
that team you played was full of Hall of Famers. I mean, geez.
Technically, we won the cup that year. We won the first game. I don't know why they had to play best of 7 that year. That's stupid.
Sean, you have like 52 guys on the team. You're the kicker, correct?
Punter, yes, correct.
Punter. So, how well do guys really get to, on a hockey team? There's 22 guys in. So are you separate from the guys? Are you hang with the guys? How well do you get to know the offense and the defense and all those guys?
You really get to know them well because, we're there at the facility 5 days a week. We're there, from 8, 9 in the morning till 5 in the afternoon. You're there a long time every day, and you're in meetings, you're, in practice, you're in the weight room, your treatment, you're having meals, watching film. So you're around the guys a lot, and we all get along. It's just like any other locker room. I listen to the way you guys talk to each other, and it's the same way we talk to each other. And it's really interesting how, we're there because our season is only 17 weeks, and then the playoffs. If you don't make the playoffs, it's over pretty quick. And most guys go back to where they're from, and a lot of times you won't see that guy till next season. I think of some of my teammates that my locker was next to him for 7 years, and except for a reunion, I'll never see him again in my whole life. And I saw him every day for 7 years. So it is pretty good camaraderie. Certainly as a punter or a kicker, we are the brunt of more jokes than anyone else because we don't have to take the beating they do. And, the only good thing I hear is every one of them say, when my kid wants to play football, you're going to teach him how to punt. So he don't have to do all this crap I have to. But it's really good. It's, in the NFL, it's like your game. It's so hard to make it. It's even harder to stay there. And the average career in the NFL is only 4 years. And the main reason, like in your game, is injury. I mean, the injury rate in the NFL is 100%. The injury rate in the NHL is 100%. Everybody gets hurt. And a lot of times when you come back from injury, you're still good, but maybe not quite as good. And you just try and soak it up while you're there because, as you guys know, it just goes so fast. And Tom's walking along pretty good.
Yeah. I did an event recently, a couple years ago. Mark Bavaro was at the event. And I remember him as that big pounding guy, right? He was like shy and quiet. He was a great guy, but he wasn't what I expected at all. He was like a great guy, really quiet and everything.
Yeah, that's how he always was. I still stay in touch with Mark. He was born and raised and still lives in Danvers, Massachusetts.
Yeah.
It's a little bit north of Boston. Just a wonderful guy, great teammate. And like you said, very quiet, but he's an icon in New York. The fans love him. And, he's like you, Tom. He's still in amazing shape. I mean, both of you guys could suit up right now, the shape you're in, and he keeps himself in good shape. Loves to play golf. Just a great teammate, Mark Bavaro.
Good. It's good.
Ron, Tom's max at bench press is 125. What's yours?
I haven't been working out much lately, so maybe I could get 125 twice, maybe.
Perfect.
I have a feeling Tom could probably do 125 dumbbells in each hand. He could probably lift those over his head.
No, I'm not sure. I think he's got – what does he do in the movies? They – not lip sync, but that's somebody else's body when he does all those exercises.
So, John, the thing with Larry is he tells us he never watches hockey now, and we just received a video of him cleaning the ice in Vancouver. I don't know if you can go on my Facebook page and watch it. So he really can't believe too much what Larry says. He's steered people astray a few times here on the show, so we're kind of careful how much we let him state facts and believe what he says. So,
well, a few times I think I've heard him say, you've talked about certain games and he mentioned, he watched a few games and has commented on some players. So, he's probably watched a few games up there, I would think. A couple, maybe.
I didn't know he went to the game zone and actually helped clean the ice.
Well, that's very gracious of him to do that. I don't know if he does that or not, but if he does, that's very nice of him to do.
He wanted to be his
Why? I mean,
you know what, though? Which kid growing up wouldn't have wanted to have been the guy to drive the Zamboni?
Oh, well, I can name one kid.
I mean, whoever that guy was, that was a big deal. And then, as you guys know, I don't know how many years ago they started it, and I think it's a great thing, where they could have put an 8, 10, 12-year-old kid on there in between periods to ride around with the driver. And, how great, right? What a great experience for a kid to get to do that.
Well, and that's another reason why we admire Mel so much, too, because he was told as a young boy that he was never going to be an NHL player, he'd be driving the Zamboni, but he fought through all that. Like it's like a real testament to his will and strength and everything. So,
well, hopefully we all don't remember that he does, but probably each one of us at some point were probably told the same thing. I mean, you know how people are if you're young, and I think all boys growing up, especially growing up in the 60s and 70s, you wanted to be a policeman, a fireman, an astronaut, a hockey player, a baseball player. Most of us wanted to do the same thing, but a lot of people try to, put a little damper on your dreams. You'll never make it, this and that. And, I know me, I never played football until I was a senior in high school. And I went to a Division II school. Nobody really knew who I was. And I was like any other kid. Yeah, God, I hope one day I can play in the NFL. And I must have had 100 people say, you'll never make it. But see, Larry's probably a better man than me, because if that person who said that to me said that to you, Larry, I would probably hunt them down and really, retaliate.
It was a little girl that did it too.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that little girl now is grown up, so I don't know. Maybe I'd send my wife over to say hello.
John, do they ever, like with the history of the New York Giants, have they ever written any books about all the players and the games and championships? Is there any books out there like that?
You know, there is. In fact, there's a number of them. You know, I do so much reading now on the, on the iPad and the computer. I used to go to the library more, or, you go through a Barnes and Noble, but even now you go through and there's just a number of books written on the history of the team because they've been around so long. It's like the Rangers. Original team going, back 100 years or whatever. And there really are a lot of books written, especially in the last 30 years, because we were the Giants from, 86 to 2012, I think in a, 25, 30-year period went to 5 Super Bowls and we're lucky to win 4. So because of that and the history, there's been more written.
And in most of those books, you're probably included in those books, right?
Yeah, there's probably a bunch of them, that because I was lucky to be on both teams, as the punter, we're at the bottom of the totem pole, and I'm okay with that.
Now, if you were not included in that book, would it upset you or feel disappointed?
Well, I guess I would say it wouldn't, but would I be saying that just to sound like a good guy? And maybe would the truth be deep down inside, it would bother me?
Right.
You know what I mean? Sometimes we might answer in a way that we want to answer that makes us sound good. But I think if you have pride as a player and you were part of something and they didn't mention you, maybe just a little bit, it might bother you, but certainly wouldn't tell anybody that, though.
Well, we have one of our guys up here was in Edmonton, and a big book was written about all the players that ever played in Edmonton. There's only one guy that was omitted, and it may be it's one of the reasons we have to do therapy on him. But.
Well, I would certainly have a talk with that guy if you had every player in there. Why wouldn't you have every player, especially a guy who was part of Stanley Cup teams? Even if a guy wasn't part of a Stanley Cup team, if it was a book about the history of the players, you'd want everybody in there, wouldn't you?
Well, we're going to get as a woman that wrote that book too. So another woman,
another woman.
Oh, yeah. So we're going to have her on the show one day, and we're going to confront her and just find out why Larry wasn't in the book. But Mel, what's your Mel? Come on, what's your homework? Mel, come on, give us your homework.
Larry, when you played for the Rangers, were these guys like this with you all the time? Because geez, every week it seems like all three of them. Although Dave always comes to your defense, I have to say Dave's pretty good. He defends you.
Well, I've never physically met Dave, but yeah, these guys are always on me. But that's just the way, like, you got to have a whipping boy, right? So I'm okay. I got big shoulders. So, but somebody in this chair said, I think 3 weeks ago or so, about the manscaping and Zibanejad never cut his hair. Right. Well, right after I said that, he goes on a freaking tear, right?
Yeah.
Did he cut his hair?
No, he didn't cut his hair. So he was watching the show and he got his ass in gear, is what I'm trying to say, Tom. Right?
So he was saying, Larry's on me now. I'm not going to cut my hair, so I better go and play. I got you. I see. Yep. You do have that power.
Yep.
They're going to make the playoffs.
They gotta have a pretty good record. Boston's got to go like 500, and then Rangers can only lose about 3 or 4 games. But
I hate to say it, but they're going to beat Pittsburgh
out. Well, mathematically, that's going to be a tough one.
Why is that, Tom?
Well,
they win tonight. They got a game in hand, and they're only be 5 points behind them or 4 points.
They're 9 points back right now.
Right. They win tonight. They win the game in hand. They're only 4 points behind them. I think Pittsburgh had a good run. But
say it again, Ron. Say it again. They're 9 points behind them right now.
If they win tonight,
and
they win the game in hand, right, they'll be 5 points behind them.
Right.
However you want to add that up, Tom. I know that like math was your.
But remember, there's only 56 games, right? And they're 39.
Yeah. If you go by what Pittsburgh did in the last while, look at the teams they beat.
Pittsburgh's 6-3-1 the last 10.
Yeah,
Rangers 6-3-1 last 10.
But they had a run in there of different teams that they played. They played the Devils a lot. They played Buffalo a lot.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, you have to look at the schedule. That's for sure.
Yeah, and they had a good streak in there. I mean, if you can't beat the Devils and you can't beat Buffalo, you don't deserve to be in the playoffs. But I think the Rangers are so good right now and playing so strong.
Oh, no question. I think they're out of the teams that are fighting for a playoff spot: Pittsburgh, Boston, Rangers, and Philly. Rangers are the best team right now. It's just whether the math works for them. That's all.
Yeah. No, I hope they make it because I just like to see Philly not make it.
Yeah. Well, I don't think. Well, they're not playing like they should. They're the only team. They're 3-5-2 in the last 10. So.
Yeah. But anyway, how about Vancouver, Mel? What's happening out there?
Oh man, not to beat up on the French, but there's one kid. What's his name? Oh, Gaudet. I guess he went out to a restaurant, number 5 Orange, and I can't confirm that, but I think he went out and he infected 21 guys and 4 staffers. So I don't think they're going to play until late next week. So I think that's pardon?
COVID, or they infected with something else?
Oh, it's no variant. So I don't know. Some of them were flu-like, throwing up and stuff. I don't know what happened, but he went. He was not. You're not supposed to leave your bubble, right? And he went to a restaurant. So
is that right, Mel? I didn't know that.
Yeah, not confirmed, but they said that he went. He's not supposed to be going out to a restaurant, and I'm not sure it's number 5 Orange, but I would assume that that's what he did after practice, because that's what normal guys would do.
Right.
Did
And
he go by himself?
Maybe.
Not confirmed.
I don't know. So they're out of the playoffs anyway. So I don't know if they're going to miss probably 8 or 9 games in 2 weeks, right? So don't know.
The league, Bill Daly from the league came out and said that they think they can make up those games if they'll play the full 56 game schedule. So no.
Well, like I said last week, those poor boys. Oh my God, if they have to play 3 games in a row, how are they going to do it?
Oh my God, no.
Yeah. When in Baltimore, we used to play 2.5 games in 3 days, or 3 games in 2.5 days. Saturday, Sunday, and then afternoons. Friday, Saturday, and then Sunday afternoon game.
That was easier than playing the 2.5 games in 3 days, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that 2.5 games. Stop that game halfway through.
I was in the penalty box for the other half of the game. So.
Okay, let's go to Sean.
That's like those football guys playing 1 game a week, right?
Yeah. Well, they got to do their dresses the rest of the week, Christ.
Yeah, it's true.
I think there's Sean, you're how many years you played? 25?
Yeah, professional 25, 3 in the USFL, the old spring league, and then 22 NFL.
And so what kind of, you guys have a good pension?
We really do, Ron. When I started back in the early 80s, it was not good at all, but for a number of years, every 3 or 4 years, we did a new agreement with the owners, and it just keep getting better and better. And we really got fortunate. This last agreement we signed was just about a week before COVID hit last year, and it was a 10-year agreement, and it basically bumped everybody who'd played in the NFL before 2007 got about a 60-70% bump in their pension, which is just unbelievable. Apparently, the worth of the league. From 1920 to maybe 2010, in that first 90 years, it's like a $9 billion industry. But then just in the last 10, it went from 9 to 15. And so former players, we really benefited from that. And we really have a nice plan. We have 4 levels of retirement, believe it or not. We have severance pay, we have an annuity, we have 401k, and then your pension. So the fact that we have 4 different levels is really great, and just really fortunate in the last 25 years they've tried to pay attention to that, because most of us say you're going to be a former player much longer than you're going to be a current player, and I'm glad they addressed that.
Yeah, that's good. That's nice.
So who's the biggest rival for the Giants then? The Cowboys or Redskins? Or
yeah, it's interesting. The Cowboys are everyone's biggest rival in the NFC East. The Redskins, Eagles, and Giants all consider the Cowboys their hated rival, and pretty much because the last 50 years they've been such a relevant team, had so many stars, and so it always seems like when you beat them, it's like worth a win and a half just because you beat the Cowboys. But Eagles and Giants in the last 15, 20 years have had so many amazing games. I mean, down to the wire games that's gotten a little bit bigger. But Dallas, because of their notoriety, they're still the ones that the other 3 teams like to hate the most.
So you won the trophy in 1989?
86, we won Super Bowl 21. Then 4 years later, in 1990, we won Super Bowl 25.
Okay, so getting back to the money thing. In 1986, when we won or 85, 86, when we won the Stanley Cup, we won. So 4 rounds. We made $5,000 per round. So we made $25,000. They sent it to us in, I don't know, June or July. So do you mind me asking what you guys would have made as?
No, that's interesting you say that, because I remember back then in the early mid 80s, guys were complaining that the playoff money wasn't great. And the first thing they said to us, they said the NHL and the NBA, for those champions, they have to play sometimes 16 games or 12 games, and they get paid what you get just in 3. Basically, if you win the division, you play a divisional playoff game, you play the championship game, you play the Super Bowl. So the payout used to be, if you won the Super Bowl, each player got $64,000. The divisional round, the players get the same amount, win or lose. I think it was $9,000 a player, whether you won or lost. In the championship game, it was like $18,000 a player, win or lose. But then in the Super Bowl, the winner got 36 and the loser got 18. That's where the difference was. But, I tell people it was so different back then. In 1986, we had a good player, a very popular player named Phil Mcconkey. In the 80s, all through the 80s, the minimum salary for a first-year player starting in 1983 was $50,000 or $40,000. Phil Mcconkey in 1986 made $60,000 for 16 games. And then he made 64 just for the other 3. Today there's players that make $1 million a game. Then in the first playoff game, they make $20,000, $25,000. In a game that's much more important, they take a drastic pay cut. So it really, not that it's not now, but back then, man, if you made the extra checks in the postseason, was a big deal. But
so do you know what Brady and those guys would have made for winning?
Yeah, I think now all in, each winning player is probably around 125,000. Mm-hmm. So, ironically, they won 3 playoff games, because if you're a wild card team, you have to win that extra playoff game. So, in the 4 games that they won, 3 playoff and Super Bowl, all in, they might have got 125, 150. So, it's interesting that in 4 games, he made 150, but the last regular season game, he made about $1.5 million. Yeah. It's interesting when you look at it that way. The more important game, you take a drastic pay cut, but things have certainly gotten better than they were in the 80s.
Who was the kicker? The really well-conditioned guy. It was pretty funny. I think he kicked with both the Jets and Giants.
A guy named Steve Weatherford.
Yes. Did you play with him?
No, he came just after I did. My last year was 06. I think he started in 06 or 07, but I told him, Steve, it's amazing the shape you're in. And, he wore number 5 for the Giants, a number of years after I was there. And I was like, geez, I wish I looked half as good in the uniform as you did. Because this guy's a legit, bodybuilder. He has the discipline to eat clean and work out in a way that very few people do. And
yeah, he's good. He's a funny guy too. He's posting funny.
He is a funny guy. He's big on social media, and he's like San Diego now. He moved out west.
Oh,
he's really good guy. Had a nice career. Probably played 10 years, and lucky he was with the Super Bowl with the Giants. He did get one there.
He's like Tom Laidlaw today, in shape, not like he was 40 years ago.
I have learned more about conditioning since I got done playing. That's for sure. Yeah.
The shape you guys are in is off the hook. I always knew you had to be in great shape. But when I was in St. Louis with the Rams, we'd moved from LA to St. Louis. The night before one of our early games in September, the St. Louis Blues were checked in, and one of the floors they had all roped off, and talking to a few of the players, and they said they were getting ready to go to camp and they were going to do some testing, and they had this Vo2 Max Test they had to take.
Yeah.
And they explained it to me, and I was always the punter and was in decent shape. Probably should have been in better shape, but, I just had to punt the ball. But I'm listening to what they said they had to do, and I'm thinking, well, there's no chance I could do it. As many good guys in great shape on an NFL team, I'm thinking there might not be half the guys in the NFL that can pass that Vo2 Max. So I think their coach was Mike Keenan, and I think somebody was saying that he was a little stern and strict with things like that. And but it was just pretty cool for them to explain what they have to go through. Because in the NFL, you come in, you lift, you run a little bit, and then you just go to training camp. But what they had to come into, it's like, God, you got to come into training camp like ready to play today just to pass that test.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable what they had to do.
Yeah, definitely. So the players today, do you think they're like you talk about conditioning? Do you think they're in better shape now than they were when you guys?
I do, because I think, like in most sports, it's literally a year-round thing. I mean, back in the 80s, guys in the offseason worked out and did things. But, I mean, today, it seems like almost none of these guys take a break. And I don't know if that's good, because you do need to rest. But, there's so many things out there with nutrition and ways to work out and trainers. And, the shape these guys are in are unbelievable. You see a guy that, probably looks like he's 210, 215, and he weighs 242 because he's all muscle. He doesn't look as big as he is. The shape they're in, the things they're doing now are unbelievable. I'll go into an NFL facility every once in a while, and I mean, they have all these coolers, and every player has a bottle with his name on it with this kind of shake to drink before you lift. Now you drink this while you lift, and then after you lift, you drink this. And I mean, they have it broken down for them, and in ways that we never had that back in the 80s. It's, you got your own food and drink, and that's just how it was. But today it's just amazing what they have for these guys.
Right. Mel, come on, I'm sorry, Mel, I didn't want to get away from you. I know, Sean, you're taking away from Mel's time a little bit because he usually wants on airtime. You got any homework, Mel, or what? What do you got?
No, this is good, Tom. I'm interested in what Sean has to say.
Well, no, what Sean said before there, people are expecting certain things when they come to the show, and they want to know what homework you've done. In the last couple of weeks, really, frankly, have not been good for you. So,
well, I've had a rough week, but Sean's on. He's in a good mood. I don't want to damper anything. So, I went off the wall, like off the board. Yep. Northern Harvard, just like Northern Harvard, 6th round. Yep. So, my daughter's friend came over last night. I was just watching whatever I was watching, and they both work at bars or have worked at bars in the past. And I do like to drink, as you know. And so they made me an espresso martini.
Nice.
So, and they were strong. Holy crap, they were strong. So the first martini I ever had was my 60th birthday. My brother and I were in Phoenix. He's got a place down in Phoenix, and it was a pineapple martini. And you wouldn't think a guy like me would be drinking, pineapple martinis. Well, I didn't just have one, I had 8. I think my brother had 12. So anyways, I was thinking, like, our friend, our friend. So our little friend, Wayne, I'm golfing the other day, and I'm golfing with a school teacher, and he pulls this thing out of his bag, and he says, Larry, do you want to have some of this? It's a Canadian cream liqueur that Wayne has started to sell in the liquor stores here. You have it on, it's 17% alcohol. It's like a Kahlua or a Bailey's or whatever. You have it on some ice. So that's what I was drinking the last couple of days. So
like there's about 10 pounds of sugar in that, right?
Well, I don't know. It's half gone, Tom. So there's only 5 pounds.
Well, because I care about you, I'd rather you not drink that. It's not very healthy for you.
I'm just trying to support Wayne. He's only got $220 million. He needs a little bit more money, right?
I'm kidding, yeah. So, get some money from his son-in-law.
Yeah, but it was a bad week. I haven't sold the BMW rims. Thanks for asking. Some of these people, we'll take the rims. We'll take the rims. $700. Can you deliver them to us? We're in Richmond, which is an hour away. Like, are people stupid? If you want something, if you want to buy something, come and pick the damn thing up, right?
Yeah.
That's why I've been drinking other stuff,
Do they know who you are when you're dealing with these people? Do they know you're Larry Melling?
No, I just use my first name, and I don't want them to meet me at my house. I'll meet down the hill. When you go down the hill, you put the car. Sean, when you go down the hill, do you put the car in 3rd gear or do you put it in drive?
I usually go and put it in drive.
There you go, Sean. Good job. Now here's another one too. When you pull into a parking spot, do you back in?
I try to back in all the time. The reason for that is my first year playing for the Giants, where I lived, everybody backed in where they were, and it was so narrow, and it was almost like I went to school for backing in. And once I learned how to do it there, it was so easy to do it anywhere else. That's why I did it. But back to going down the hill, should I put it in 3rd? Would that be better for my car to do that?
No, you're fine.
Yes,
it would be better.
Yep. So then you don't pound on the brakes the whole way down. So I live up on a mountain. The mountain is probably a mile long down to the flat surface, and people brake all the way down. $600 for brakes. Put it in 3rd.
Tom, maybe since he lives at the top of a hill, would that maybe be okay to put it in 3rd since he lived in that situation?
Well, I think it's overkill. You have brakes for a reason, right? That's to stop the vehicle. So I think it's a little bit overkill, but that's just my opinion.
I'll have to try it. I'll let you know how it goes.
Right. But I do actually, I respect the fact that you're back in too. Like you're prepared. I view it as being prepared and disciplined. You're ready to go right away, right?
Well, it's so nice to come out, even for a second, just to know that you're going to pull straight out instead of having to back out.
Ron and Larry, you're going to go somewhere with Ron and Larry. You got to sit there and watch them back out of the parking spot, which.
Well, Ron's been driving longer than me. He's very experienced. He'll be right with that.
Yeah.
How far do you live from the two guys up there, Don?
I live about 28 miles. Don't live very far from them. I'm about 18 miles from Midtown, just outside of Queens and Long Island, Manhasset, Great Neck, kind of on the North Shore there. It's the Islanders play about 8 miles from me. Speaking of them, they're getting a brand new facility. I mean, it's a magnificent building. When I drive by the Cross Island Parkway, it's almost done, and the building looks amazing. But these guys are just out of New York State. They're in. I don't know if the area they live in, Larry, but it's a very exclusive area. I mean, you and I might not be able to afford to live there, but
hold on there. Larry lives up in the mountain there for a reason. I mean, he's got guards around the house. There's
All right.
He spends all his money on clothes and everything, but he's still a very wealthy man.
We're not talking about Sir James Patrick in the gated community of Winnipeg. We're talking about me. And I bought my house 24 years ago when prices weren't as crazy as they are now.
Right. So, Sean, do you remember James Patrick?
Yeah, I do. Absolutely. Yeah. I got to the Giants, I think, in 84, and I met Ron around 85, 86, and started to go to the games. So I do remember all the players since then. I do remember.
Do you remember players like that you had to call them by their full first name? Like in my case, you would have to call me Thomas. Like James Patrick makes us call him James. You can't call him Jim.
Why does he do that?
Well, that's a good question by you. I think it's kind of he thinks he's above everybody else. That's my view. He thinks he's better than everybody else, really. So
I would think, how it is on a team. When you say that, then that guarantees that they will not do that.
See?
Pretty much.
Maybe because he was a first rounder and Tom and I were fourth. And Sean, I was drafted before Tom, just to let you know. And then Tom was drafted in the 6th round. So,
Gresh, you were 2nd round, weren't you?
Yes, I was, Tom.
And Sean, what round did you get drafted in?
Actually, I was drafted in the USFL before the NFL, and I take solace in the fact that I was the first punter drafted in that draft, but it was in the 14th round. So, coming from a Division II college, I was just thrilled that they knew who I was, and I was a 14th round pick. I mean, today the draft. Back in the day, late 70s or 70s, the NFL draft used to be 24 rounds, then 17. Then it went to 12, and now it's 7.
I forget. Like I do have a lot in common with Tom Brady. That's right, 6th round draft pick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was really cool last year during the draft because all of know what a production they've made the NFL draft. It's like the Super Bowl of the offseason. And every kid wants to be drafted, and so many kids are told they're going to be drafted high, and they're not, and they're disappointed. And thought it was really cool last year, the year before, that Tom Brady tweeted something out like, to all you kids disappointed if you're not drafted high, 7 of the 11 guys in the huddle that were on the Super Bowl game winning drive were free agents or late draft picks like me.
That's pretty cool. Yeah.
It was so great to let kids know, hey, just because you're not a 1st or 2nd round pick, it doesn't mean not only that you can't make it, but it doesn't mean you can't make it and be in the Super Bowl. That was really cool of him to do.
Larry Melnick for 2 Stanley Cups, 4th round pick.
So Sean,
how many rounds are in the hockey draft?
7 now.
Did it used to be less?
There used to be as many as you wanted when I was drafted. There's no limit.
Until there was no players left to draft.
Wow.
So did you sign as a free agent to the NFL?
Yes, I did. I was so lucky. The NFL did not have free agency. We didn't get free agency till 1993. So before that, you were pretty much stuck with the team you were with until they traded you or they cut you. If you signed a 3-year deal with them and your deal was up, the only way you could go to another team is if that team gave the team you left 2 first-round picks as compensation.
Oh, wow.
And that little nugget prevented anybody from leaving. So for years, a guy like Lawrence Taylor signed a 4-year deal, be the best player in the league, and he couldn't go to the highest bidder. We'll never know collectively the hundreds of millions of dollars half the guys in the NFL Hall of Fame could have made if they were free to go to the highest bidder. But me, coming from another league, I played 3 years in the USFL, so I was free to sign with anybody. And I mean, it was a perfect situation. I was just a punter, but because I had 4 or 5 teams bidding for me, I mean, I ended up getting equal to 2nd or 3rd round pick money. It was like so embarrassing. I mean, I was happy, but when I'd see I got the money that guy got as a running back or a receiver, and the only reason I got it was because there was competition. Now, in 1993, we went on strike in '87. Took 6 years, but we finally won. Once there was free agency, the salaries went through the roof. I mean, what they did was 1 year they told the NFL players, the NFL teams, freeze your top 37 guys. Freeze them. They can't be touched. The other 14, 15 guys, even if they had 2 or 3 years left on their contract, you are free to negotiate with any team and get any deal you can get. They found out that all those guys, they're good players, but they were backup players. They were getting bigger deals than the guys starting in front of them where they were because they had 5 teams that could bid for them. It was very interesting. The first year out of pride, we all wanted to be frozen because if you were frozen, you felt that the team felt you were really good. And if you weren't frozen, you thought the team thought you were expendable. Well, after that first year, every single one of us had our agents calling the team saying, don't freeze us. Because when you saw your backup get a deal twice as big as you did, just because he had competition, that really changed everything, for the NFL players when that happened.
Nice. Gresh, what's for dinner tonight?
I'm not sure yet. My kids are coming over, but I have a question for you. How many seats is that new building that the Islanders are going to have? What's the seating capacity? Anybody know?
I think
I guess I could look it up. I'd imagine it'd be 17, 18. It's the latest one being built, so you would think it would.
I think Ron's going someplace with this.
Oh, is it?
Well, they'll be able to fill it up because they get all those cardboard cutouts on all over the league. They can send them there.
Right.
Islanders made that big trade though yesterday. That was a good trade.
Oh, listen to me, I love watching that Barzal play. I don't think when he scores against the Rangers, but
yeah,
I mean that kid is like he's scary. How good he is.
Well, Sean, I don't know if we'll have Sean on again. Frankly, his being nice to Mel was a little bit over the top. Yeah,
that's got to change.
What do you think, Gresh?
I'll talk to him later. I'll explain the whole thing to you, really? Sean.
He hasn't really spent much time with Larry. That's what it is.
Yeah, like that's kind of putting you in the category. You and Dave. Now there's 3 against 2. That's not fair.
Yeah, seriously. Well, Sean, it's great to see you. I know I don't know each other that well. You and Ron have been friends for a long time. We've met each other at a few events, and you're always very cordial to the fans, and everybody's excited to see you all the time. So great to see you here.
Oh, it's so great for you to have me on, and Ron, I so much appreciate you letting me part of your show. I miss Dave being here. Look forward to seeing him next week, and Larry, when you get to New York in late August or September, I think I remember you saying to play golf. I hope I get a chance to meet you, and so great for you guys to have me on your show. I love it, and I hope it keeps going for a long time.
Well, you know what? We're going to film you when we all have the meeting together, Sean. You're there. We're going to film it all, right? And then we can play it. And then we'll kind of analyze it later on and see, okay, how did Sean react now before he knew Larry and how he reacted after he meets him, right?
Okay.
I'll tell you, when you come to the Garden, like I remember first time, years ago, my son met you, and you had the rings, and he put the rings on, and you stand there with the rings and all that stuff, The fans love that stuff with the rings. So, Mel, when you come to New York, bring your rings.
Yes, definitely. Absolutely.
People like that stuff.
Yeah, I will do that. Just one question, Sean. So Tom never hit anybody physically, but he sucker punched a couple of Frenchmen. Did you ever tackle anybody when you're kicking?
I tell people I didn't make many. I made 7 or 8 tackles, but I probably missed about a dozen.
On purpose.
Guys a little faster than me, and you know, the only reason I get them usually by the time they get to me, they're a little bit tired. They've had to juke a few people, and I get them. But I have made a few tackles, not many, but you know, I saw Tom. I remember him played, and I do recall seeing him make contact with, you know, a few people.
I must have missed that game.
All right, Sean. Great to see you.
Thanks so
Mel.
much for having me, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
See you guys next week.
Got it, man.
See you guys.